Hello and welcome back to another episode of Flavor Blast. I'm BerryCrunch. Right now we're actually starting the episode in the shopping district because people are making progress and it's pretty big. We actually have a path starting, which looks great. We have this big shop that's actually selling a lot of great stuff. Might come over here and buy some obsidian, maybe some gold, because I need both. But I wanted to look down at these guys first because they actually have actual structures standing so far. And I'm just really glad to see stuff actually popping up. Like, this is a concrete shop. Look at, okay, nothing in it yet, but you know, I'm super proud of how it's starting out. So we're actually going to be working up at the top up here first because I have a project in mind that I need to get done like right now. So right now it's the 28th of September and I have an event planned for October, and I haven't told these guys about any of it, and I really haven't even done anything for it yet. I actually just set the score display back to 0, and this isn't for deaths anymore. This is actually for the event. So for the event, it's gonna be killing phantom. Whoever can kill the most phantoms during the month of October will win the grand prize. Now, with that being said, I also want to encourage players to put more items of their own into the grand prize jackpot. Maybe kind of like a poker-esque feel to it, where like if you're ahead, you put more into it or something. I want to encourage players to put as much into this as possible because we want it to be big. So first thing I'm going to contribute, I've actually been working pretty hard on getting this stuff, is we are going to put up 32 diamond blocks and 1 netherite block. So that's pretty big. That's what I'm going to throw up right away, try to get people interested. I'm going to put a big long Discord post in it. But first, I need to make a platform. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is put it right here, like right outside Portal. I want it to be nice and huge. I eventually plan to put a shop here, but right now, you know, that's a perfect spot for it. So I'm going to go ahead and make the platform for that, maybe throw those blocks down and send the Discord message. And I will bring you guys back once I have something to show you. Alright, so it is now set up. I got the podium in place, I put the prize pool up and everything, and I also wrote out some rules here. So if you want, you can click through them and pause the video. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, I'll pretty much explain it right after this. So if you want, go ahead and pause the video. Otherwise, basically how this played is, like I said, you want to kill phantoms. That's going to be the main point of this, is killing phantoms, and it's tracked through the scoreboard here. And the second option of gathering points for this thing is through bounties. We're gonna have a few different bounties and it's gonna be handled as a secondary to killing phantoms. And basically what it is there's gonna be like 2 main bounty systems here. There's gonna be player heads, and I'll make a bounty, and then everybody who opted into PvP has the option to go try to kill that player and bring me their head and put it on this board for a set amount of points. Then there's going to be common bounties, and that's going to be stuff like gather mob heads or gather this item like jack-o'-lanterns or something Halloween themed. So there's going to be a few ways to gather points other than just killing phantoms. My main goal here is I want to get people to kill phantoms for this event more than collecting the bounties. So I'm going to try to have to balance the point systems there, see how many people are killing phantoms compared to doing bounties. So we'll play around with this a little bit. I'm just going to kind of wing this event and go from there. I'm going to go ahead and message the Discord, get this word out to them. Like I said, it doesn't start for a couple days. And from here, we're going to go ahead and jump into our next project. Alright, so our next project actually brings us back down to the super chunk over here. And I mentioned it in the last episode, so it's probably an easy guess what we're going to be making here. And it's going to be a pumpkin and melon farm, because I want to get going with this, and it's kind of spooky season, so making a pumpkin farm's super fitting. And I also want to be making this because I want to trade with some villagers. I need mending right now really bad, so right now it just makes sense. I started digging out where the start of the storage room is going to be, and we're actually going to be making the farm up on that layer so that everything drains down. So I'm going to go ahead and finish digging this out and bring you guys back once I have a little something to show you. Okay, so I finally have the spot up here dug out. You may notice that I also tore out the line that was pushing the iron across here, and I moved it up there also just so that it goes down the left side. It was just super in the way for this farm, and I decided that it's not worth the visual there because it didn't even look that cool like I wanted it to. It wasn't worth it being that's in the way for this farm. So I went ahead and moved it across, and I also went ahead and just dug out this area. So the next step of this farm is I need to lay down the collection system, which is just a bunch of mine carts. And once I get that going, I will bring you guys back and we'll get cracking with the rest of the farm. All right, so the rails are in, and I got a little carried away. I put in the dirt already too. The rails, nothing too special, just zigzags back and forth with an item collector, a drop-off station on the other side or back there, hidden away. And then I threw the dirt on over top of it, pretty much the exact same setup I used for the turtles over there, except for I only used 2 mine carts for this one. So it's not too laggy compared to the turtle farm, but we got that set up. Now next I need to throw in the water sources, which it's going to go in the middle. I need 2 of them because one water source will do a 9x9 area, and we have a 18x9. So we're going to go ahead and throw in the water sources. I'm going to plant as much of the seeds as I can. I don't have a ton. I only have 51 pumpkin seeds, might get us through, and 16 melons. So we're probably going to have to do a few melons a little bit, or maybe get the farm up and going, and then come back in here with a maintenance hatch and plant the rest. I haven't quite decided yet, but we're gonna go ahead and start planting and everything, and I need to till up the dirt and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get going with that, and I'll bring you guys back once I have a little bit more to show you. Alright, so I went ahead and got the water sources in place. I put them in so that there's 4 blocks of soil around them on each side, because the hydration zone for them is a 9x9, like I said, which means 1 block in the middle and 4 surrounding on each side. So I went ahead and did that, and I got some light sources in place so that the light level is high enough for pumpkins to actually grow, with the exception is right here. I need to figure something out. Maybe I'll put one right here, but I think that'll look kind of dumb. So I'm going to go ahead and try to figure that out later. So up next, I need to go ahead and start tilling the soil around here. And how you do that is you go from the center out, or you start from the corner, and it's going to be a checkerboard pattern. So after you make these farms so many times, you understand how they work. And in this case, I actually modified the size of the farm I needed to fit within the walls of the chunks here. So the problem is I want to fit 2 of these farms in side by side here. Now with that being said, each one of these farms is normally 9x9. And I ran out of room on this side, so I decided to just condense it into a 9x7 for each one of them. Now, with that being said, it's not a huge deal because it just means we'll lose a little bit of spawning platforms. Not even that much so, because the waters will just mean it's just overhydrating the soil. So not a huge deal at all. However, where the problem comes in is in the middle here. They don't line up correctly, so instead of checkerboard pattern, we have these 2 on each one of them. Now, that's not a huge deal. It's kind of annoying for OCD reasons. But the reason we have the checkerboard pattern in the first place is we'll have seeds in this one, for example, and the plant right here, each one of these plants will have 4 spots that they can grow their melon. Now, that is the most optical way to do it, because it just is the maximum amount of spawning platforms you can have with the amount of plants that you have. So over here, each one of these plants will be fighting for 1 of these platforms each. So it's just going to slow down the spawning rates of these right here in the middle. Not a huge deal by any means. It's still going to be a pretty good farm. It's just a little annoying that this is how it kind of laid out and happened. Alright, complaining out of the way, the next part of this farm that we're going to be doing is just planting everything. We're going to go ahead and do it now, so it's not that big of a headache later, even though I think I'm going to have to with the melons anyway. But this is very important. So if you want to make this farm, the most important thing about this farm is planting them in alternating rows. So for example, we'll do melons here, we'll switch, we'll do pumpkins in this row. And what that does is it speeds it up. If you were to plant only melons in this entire farm, for example, you will get the same amount of melons out of the entire farm than if you did it like this and alternated. So basically, you should be doing it like this anyway, and that will just ensure that you get maximum crops. Alright, so I have all of the pumpkin planted and my melons gave out right about halfway. Not even quite halfway. So I need about another 20 or so melon seeds and we'll be able to plant this whole thing up and move on to the next step. So I went ahead and grabbed some bone meal to speed this up a little bit, and I'm already getting a bunch of melons, so that was definitely the right move. Like, I literally just bone mealed and started moving on, and I was getting so many growing already that I was like, okay, I gotta record it. Oh, look at that right there. I just grew one and instantly it popped up. So I'm pretty glad we should be able to get this going real soon. Alright, the next part of this farm is probably going to be the hardest part here, and that's because of the order I did it in. So I need to get the observers facing up, and I don't know if there's a good way to do this. Nice. Alright, so I found the easiest way. So I came over here and used a trapdoor to get into the swim mode so that I can crawl through here. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this. It seems to be working pretty well. Okay, well, I'm going to have to go down there and fix that anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep doing this and getting these all in place. Alright, so I put in my whole stack of observers. I thought it was going to be enough. I guess this is what I get for not planning ahead. Speaking of not planning ahead, so back to this middle row not being set right. So as I got through here, I was thinking to myself, you know, the easiest way to fix this would have been to start in the middle and checkerboard out so that the sides were messed up and not the middle. But I'm already this far in and I don't feel like tearing it all out, so we're gonna go ahead and leave it. It's not a huge deal, like I said. Alright, so I ran up to the top there, made 23 more observers. Hopefully this is enough to get cracking with the rest of it. Okay, so I went ahead and got those in, and I only used a handful of them. So that's not a bad thing. I can always just use these to throw in my redstone shulker box. So next we're going to go and do the same thing pretty much on the bottom here, if I can get down there with the trapdoor. So we're going to come over here, and next we're going to be doing this for all of them. Alright, so not quite as easy as the observers, but I got most of them in, just need a handful more over there. Alright, so I went ahead and got that finished up, and now the last thing we need to do for this farm, well, I mean, I guess there's one more thing after this we need to do, but the almost last thing we need to do is we need to come up here and we need to lay the actual redstone down, which is super easy. So I'm actually going to show you it on camera here. It's going to be as easy as putting blocks above all the observers and putting a redstone in between them, so on all of the pistons. Super easy. Okay, so now it's actually a couple days past the last clip, but I have the storage in finally. Nothing too crazy. I just have the items coming down over here. They swing back there. I have a simple item sorter over there, and that just separates the melons and keeps the melons going over here. And the pumpkins go over here through the item sorter. Nothing crazy, pretty much the exact same thing I did with my iron farm. I also got an overnight AFK session in over here, and I got like 6 chests of melons, but I've already emptied it because I took a lot of that stuff instantly over to my villagers and got a couple mending villagers because a lot of my gear was really crazy low, like my shovel, but I haven't got that far yet. But I threw some mending on my sword, and I got an enchanted elytra now, so now we can start flying around. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put a pause on this project right now, and we're going to swing over to the shopping district because today is October 1st, which marks the first day of our event. And we're back to the shopping district. I went ahead and set the bounties up for the first day because it is October 1st and the event has now started. Nothing crazy, just something that I thought was Halloween themed that could get people in the spirit of getting stuff. The first one being jack-o'-lantern for 1 point, since it's so easy to get. You know, you just get a pumpkin, you shear it, and then you throw a torch in it. I got an ominous banner. Also, not hard to get, so it's only 3 points. And then skeleton horse head, a little bit harder to get. I know a couple players have them already, so it's not impossible. And I had one to put up here as a display, worth 5 points. And some other players are already going crazy. Don't worry about Fluffles, I'll answer him in a sec. Some players are already going crazy with the phantom kills. I reset the counter last night and the blind bandit already has 27, which is crazy. Last night before I reset it, it was up for like 2 or 3 days and there's already a player with 80. So I'm assuming they're setting up farms for those, which is, you know, more power to them. There's nothing in the rules against that. So I might have to balance the points up here a little bit higher to give players that don't want to build farms a better chance. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I have a few more things planned with this. I don't want them all to be items that we go and get. I also want some of them to be a little bit harder to get. And I kind of want to make dungeons and quests for some players. So maybe I'll go make a tower like out on a far land at some point, and give them the cords there, and then it's kind of like a dungeon style where they have to go in it and get an item that I make to put up here, and that would be like the bounty. So I have a few ideas still circling around in my head for this, and I have a few things I want to get going with the rest of the day. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer Fluffles and get going with the next thing. I ran over here and I updated the bounties to start off with, and I ended up going with an end theme here. And the reason for that is I actually just reset the end, so it's back to how it was at the beginning of the world. Brand new dragon, new shulker cities, and everything. So that's reset. So I went with an end theme because it might be a little bit harder to get right now. Also, I went with an ender pearl. You can get this one up to 16 times. So if you bring 16 of them, you can get 16 different points. I also went with a shulker head and a dragon head. And the last project of the day is actually going to be right next door to here. I already prepared the plot. Right now, it's just kind of an empty thing of dirt overhanging here, so we might have to terraform that a little bit, but that's no big deal. Right now we're going to be actually building up the iron and slime shop that I've been putting off forever. So without further ado, we're going to be slipping into super fast build mode. Okay, and as you can see, the shop is now done, with the exception of the inside. So how you get in this bad boy is actually up through his arm right here and into his head. I also brought a vine over here. Is this the kind that it is? Okay, so I'm gonna actually bring this vine all the way down, and that's how you're gonna get up and down to here. And this is where the shop's gonna be. I am gonna sell slime blocks and iron blocks for sure. I might sell bone also, not quite sure. But I'm gonna go ahead and just get the shop done right through here, you know, not too much left to do, just throwing some chests in the stock, a little bit of light, you know, nothing crazy, and I'll bring you guys back once that's done. Just finished the inside of the shop here, nothing crazy, just threw down some chests with the blocks inside of it. Decided I'm gonna sell each stack of blocks for 5 diamonds each. So I'm just keeping the price of the iron blocks the same right now and adding slime, nothing crazy here. And unfortunately, that's all I have time for today. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you're new here, please subscribe. It helps me out a ton to know that you guys are liking what I'm putting out, or if you have any suggestions on what to change, feel free to comment that down below also. We got a lot done today. We made the Iron Golem shop right behind me. We put out the new Halloween event. We also made a Pumpkin and Melon Farm, so got a lot done today. And if you stuck to the very end and you play on the server also, I have a small surprise for you. If you comment down below anything about the video, that you liked it, that you disliked it, just anything, and make sure you put your in-game name below, I will add 25 points to your Halloween event score. Anyway, I'm BerryCrunch, and until next time.